Welcome back. Please like and subscribe for more content. February 17, 2022, probable prediction. It's nearly here. Every emotion is coursing through my veins. Will I remember him? No way. But I think what scares me the most is the possibility that he would remain selfish till the end. Allow me to provide some context. He's on the move. Bye, see you later, don't let the door hit you, etc. Now, any normal, well-adjusted individual would plan ahead of time, right? No, not him. No way, not him. He has instead spent his child-free weekends in her state. I found out through common acquaintances that he was celebrating birthdays of her friends, going paintballing, and treating her to a fancy Valentine's Day dinner. Again, typically, this is none of my business and I have no reason to care, except that he has already intimated that he would not be taking the kids on the last weekend of the month as planned. Apparently preferring to spend his weekends enjoying himself and then giving me the children on his scheduled weekend to finally deal with his priorities. But, who cares about my time? But, more significantly, what about the children? Is this a see you later that will vanish like a robber in the night? No explanation, just a standard farewell that translates to goodbye forever? Here is my forecast. He is currently traveling across the country. He'll return on Monday, the 21st, to watch the kids for 2 nights before leaving. Poof. Houdini himself could not perform a finer illusion. The greatest disappearing trick ever. Let me now explain how I came up with this notion. It wasn't a crystal ball, but his inability to provide specifics. He sold everything that meant anything to him or was valuable. Years of valuable memorabilia were stacked into a U-Haul and sold. He is also having his car transported across the country. When I asked when it will be shipped, he said, "The guy hasn't given me a date." So you hired a firm and told them you're leaving on March 1st, but they haven't provided you a ship date. My best guess? He has a date that he refuses to divulge since he knows it will keep him from being present for his parenting time. I've seen this film so many times that I can quote the dialogue. When I asked him about it, he said he was doing the best I could and I don't have any help. So I offered to assist. I informed him I offered to help him pack on both weekends, but he opted to be in her condition instead. Stop trying to control the circumstance, he says. Wait. I offered to help because you didn't have any, and you labeled me as controlling? That irritated me. Not because he's a jerk, I realize that can't be avoided. But he knows who I am. He realizes that wasn't a controlling remark. So why bring it up? I knew he was saying it because he had to. Being a good person makes him feel guilty. He realizes this is a selfish approach. He is aware that he has been difficult. He realizes the affair was wrong. But making me the villain is simpler than facing his own flaws. Perhaps he has told his AP so many falsehoods about how awful I am that he now believes them. Whatever the reason, the chameleon's hue has altered. He is now her shade, blending in and mimicking everything she feels. This is typical of narcissists. He is nice and pleasant to her. If she has an opinion about me, he now has an opinion about me as well. He'll drink her up as his new supply. He will conform to all she is, until he becomes bored. Until the charm wears off, everyday life and routine take over and she is no longer feeding his ego. What happens next? Then he does the same thing he did to me. He withdraws, resents, is secretive, cheats, and then vilifies. The chameleon will change color once again. It's the nature of chameleons. Hello and goodbye, March 5, 2022. The day arrived and then vanished. He left on Saturday, February 26th. Yes, my prediction was correct. He stated that he wasn't changing a cross-country trip to retain the kids for his last weekend, despite having stated just a few days before that everything are up in the air regarding the move. I wish I knew how to gamble because I could have bet everything and won. Anyone who has been following my tale since the beginning knew the odds of him leaving early were good. We all could have made a few coins. On Thursday evening, he dropped off some items at the house and said goodbye to the kids. It wasn't sentimental or lengthy. Just a hug and a farewell. The next day, I went to his house to retrieve the heavier items that would not fit in his car. We packed my car in silence, and the awkward moment occurred once the trunk was closed. Do I simply leave? Throw him twos and get in my car? What is the proper way to say goodbye to the man you were married to for 10 years, knew for 15, had children with, cheated on you, and so on. Well, I guess that's goodbye, I said. Best of luck out there. He then looked down at his feet and began to adjust his weight. No. This cannot be what I believe it to be. Is he depressed? Come on, you're going to make me cry, he adds. Are you ready for me to make you cry? That sentence enraged me. Why the heck would you cry? I asked. Every choice you've taken in the last 18 months has been for this moment. You desired it, and you received it. He desired confirmation. He needed assurance. Bottom line, he trusts me and knows I'm reasonable, so he wanted me to assure him this was the appropriate thing to do. That it was fine for him to leave the kids. Perhaps it's okay that he cheated. I believe my remark made him realize that the days of moral support were over, and he stiffened up. So much for the past 15 years, I remarked as I turned to get into my car. Goodbye, he laughed. He's upset with me again. That is what I prefer. I spoke to him for the first time since he departed yesterday. The boys' spring break is in a month, and the intention was for them to spend the week with him. I sent him a message inquiring about dates, but he didn't seem interested. He had to look at a calendar and work on stuff on his end, he explained. He didn't seem to mind when I mentioned saving them for Easter and my oldest's birthday. Something is wrong. Her children are in school that week, and they both have to work. Who will look after / entertain the children for a week? He's not going to be able to make it work. Even if he wanted to, I doubt he could. To all my betters, what are the possibilities that the boys will go visit him for a week in April? Now for some new business. I ran into someone. I didn't just meet someone, after all. I've been dating someone since December, and dare I say, he's fantastic. I've been hesitant to say anything because, to be honest, I'm terrified. I'm terrified something similar may happen to me again. I'm frightened of introducing the boys to someone and having it all go apart. I'm terrified to open myself to someone again. But, as far as I can tell, he is nothing like my ex. I'm wary, but I like his companionship, care, and attention. He knows my story, he's been in the room with me while I've been on the phone with my ex, and he's witnessed the gaslighting firsthand. Because of this, I believe he is being really patient with me. I warned him ahead of time that this would take some time, and he understood. I'm no longer the same lady I was 2 years ago. That is neither a good nor a negative thing, it is simply the fact. So, for the time being, I'm cautiously optimistic and taking it day by day with him. Radio silence, March 28, 222. 10 days. That is the start of the boys' spring break. It's barely 10 days away, and I haven't heard anything concerning airfare or travel preparations from the ex. When I questioned him about it in early March, we tried to figure the logistics. I say we, but it was really just me. I offered to pay for my own flight out there. I was planning a mini vacation following drop-off, and he agreed to pay for the boys. He told me that he had travel credits from their canceled Christmas trip, and that everything would be taken care of. Then there was radio silence. There was no sound. When I asked about dates, he claimed he'd have to check his work calendar. Then it was, I need to look at our calendar. Finally, it said the airline is causing me credit difficulties. So I sat and waited. I waited 3 weeks. I had to make the decision tonight. I wish I hadn't taken up the phone and dialed his number. He informs me that his credit is only good for 1 pair of tickets. How do you want to work this? He asks. You want to pay for their transportation here and I'll pay for their return flight? No, pass on this one. It is not my obligation to pay for this. You promised to come here once a month as part of our MSA. You decided it was too costly and now want them to come to you. You left your children and moved across the country for a woman. You must now pay their airfare or come here. He informed me that we share custody 50-50, thus our travel fees should be the same. He informed me he talked to others, apparently his girlfriend, who think our arrangement is stupid and unjust. That's fine, Chief. Whatever you want to say. Please show me the people's law degrees. He stated that our entire MSA must be modified. Want to make a change? No worries. Hire a lawyer. He won't because he can't afford to. He couldn't afford $2,000 in airline tickets, but he can afford a lawyer, right? We argued in circles, and I realized that none of us were being heard. So I urged him to find a lawyer and then hung up the phone. So I opened my wallet once more and dialed my lawyer's number. That's one bill I'll never be furious about having to pay. He may make demands until he's blue in the face, she says, but unless he hires a lawyer and files for the change, it's all just hot air. Even after he files, she is convinced that a judge would see his breach of our legal agreement negatively. The court will next ask why he moved, and if it is clear that it was solely for his advantage and not in the best interests of the children, he will not change the arrangement. The best thing is that if he files, he will have to fly back to my state to attend court, but he does not want to travel here to see his children. The moral of the story is that he was just concerned with beating me. Besting me in terms of money, time, sanity, and so on. The harsh reality is that he has moved on. I was fine with him going on and leaving me behind, in fact, I embraced it. But it's the children that suffer. They're asking less and less about him, and I'm not sure if that's a good or negative thing. I'm sure it's bad for him, but it could be the best thing for the kids. Time of play, April 21, 2022. I'd like to introduce you to a new game that I enjoy playing. Survivors of infidelity and narcissists may be familiar with this game. Healthy or trauma, I like to say. Being in a new relationship after leaving a cheater is difficult, both psychologically and emotionally. I'm enjoying every minute with him and the comfort we provide one another, but I'm also scrutinizing things more than I ever have. Because I have not been in a good relationship, I frequently wonder what is normal and what is not. Is this a good action, behavior, or attitude, or am I bound to repeat the same mistake? I played this game in silence for the first few months. When he was watching the game, he ignored what I said to him. Normal? I had to ask him to assist me with something. Is that normal? He responded to a text and slipped his phone into his pocket. Drama? He disappears for a moment while playing a video game. Trauma? He has been so patient with me and guided me through this new relationship that it has made me feel so at ease. The trust is growing, but it is not strong. The Empire State Building is not here. It's more akin to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Playing this back and forth game in my thoughts was growing taxing. I knew I didn't want to repeat my previous mistakes. Am I being overly careful and overthinking things? Yes, most likely. But who wouldn't in my situation? Was I impeding myself by doing this? What should I do to keep this relationship alive and well? I made the decision to begin at the beginning. I wanted to undo the first mistake I made with my ex, not communicating well. So I explained my game to him. I told him that I overanalyze. He knew this part already, but the game aspect was new, and that I wonder if things are part of a healthy relationship or if I'm setting myself up for another trauma. He realized. He burst out laughing. He consoled her. He hugged her. So, while I've been unable to stop playing my game, I'm no longer the only one. He comprehends my mental processes and speaks with me. He notices the gears whirling in my head and brings them to a halt. I apologize to him for the way my mind works, but he won't listen. He says, "We're rebuilding." We are, indeed. To be continued.